Hello and welcome to Frank's School. I'm going to take time out for a moment because I had a line of thinking which I want to run past you, and I'm not sure when I would do it otherwise. In the next video, there'll be 3 today. In the next one, the second one, I'll talk about Switzerland and what you're about to see in the third. But time out. Yesterday I was talking about the concept of let something run wild in carpentry. I still have this piece of wood here where this was the wild side. And I thought a little bit more about that. I thought quite a bit about that actually. And I realized that really that comes down in a sense to tolerance. And you may not be able to understand what I say here, but there was an expression, there still is in the United States, an expression, zero tolerance. It had to do with drugs in the school or anything, something horrific. Drugs in the school, I think, zero tolerance, a policy of that, bullying or something. And I don't usually write letters to the editor, but I did at that occasion. This was quite a while before when the word first came out. And the point I tried to make is that is impossible. There cannot be such a thing as zero tolerance. If you look, I compared it to an engineer or a carpenter or anything. Zero tolerance is impossible. If you have no tolerance, then, for example, a machine will not work. You have to have tolerance. That is an impossible concept. And of course, I went on to explain that that is also true of the social world, I believe. But anyway, the line of thinking led me to the idea that the beast down there, that huge, ugly outdoor furnace, I'm building that. You're seeing everything is wild. You're seeing what's running wild because I'm building that based on a line up through the middle of it. And I'm building from that center line outward. And so the outside is what runs wild. And you know, what does the beast down there have to do with a jetliner? Well, at a certain point in my life, I found out that when they build a jetliner, an airplane, that's the way they build it. They have a line, a theoretical line if you wish, that goes straight through that airliner. I think they call it a datum line or a datum line, I think. And every single screw or bolt or everything in that airplane is located based on that single center line. So the further out you get, the further you come to what runs wild. Well, of course, on a jetliner, you don't really want anything to run wild, but it must. You must have tolerance. Notre Dame de Paris, that unbelievable cathedral in the center of Paris, why I put that there is because, you know, when they laid that out, in a sense they made a mistake. If you ever go to Paris and you're walking around there, if you would go to the very far enough away from the Ile de la Cité, I think you might actually, I don't know, no, I think you can still see it without going onto a bridge. But if you sight down along Notre Dame de Paris, you'll see that it was laid off on a curved line. It is not straight. And that amazed me the first time I saw that, and it still amazes me. It makes me think that when they stretched that string from which that whole building then was laid off, the wind must have been blowing gently out of the south or something, because there is a curve in that building. This cat, I've got some pretty strange cats here. And then finally, I've had quite a discussion with my producer, Shirley, over, she's a mechanic and builds. And we were talking about when you lay out tiles or pieces of plywood. If this were a floor and you had to tile that floor, what you do is you establish in the middle a square, and then you start to lay your tiles, however you're going to do it, outward. And then out here is where the pattern runs wild. I can't draw, and I shouldn't even maybe try to do this, but it's when you get out here that it runs wild. The same is true of if this were a doorway and you had to hang a door, a carpenter going in there establishes a plumb line. It could be here or it could be here, but you establish your plumb line and then you work off that plumb line. Probably most of you watching this have no idea why I'm talking about this, but it's important to me. Masons, the Masonic Temple, this order, that I am not a Mason, but I once heard the phrase, we met on the level and departed on the square. Well, I think the Masons go all the way back to Alexander the Great, or maybe further back, and I understand that there is something practically magical about square and plumb and level. If things are square and plumb and level, you can put order in the world. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you at this point think I must have lost my mind to go into this. But I may come back to it again. But anyway, that idea of zero tolerance, I went all the way from this board to the concept, the misconception that I feel in the social world that there could ever be such a thing as zero tolerance. All right, I tried. The next video will make a little bit more sense to you, I think. See you next time.